Next, we are going to welcome to the stage Luigi Cominelli. Luigi is a legal tech specialist, and he currently works in an advisory capacity and heads a team of legal tech specialists at Legal Softtech, providing automation services to a consortium of Italian law firms. And that's what he's going to discuss with you today, how a consortium of major Italian law firms and a bank automated their entire litigation document process. So welcome to the stage, Luigi.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, as usual, for this warm welcome to Prague. My name is Luigi Cominelli. I've been doing knowledge management work, now we prefer to call it legal tech maybe, for the past 15 years. And now I'm supervising this small group of lawyers working at Legal Softtech. As you will see, we work in a sort of a consortium. Well, by the way, they're in the audience here, Andrea Maraggia, Andrea D'Amato. So we're three, basically. I think we're doing a lot of work, and our clients, both law firm clients and corporate clients, they seem to be very happy with what we are doing. Well, it took some years to develop this experience, to develop the right approach, to understand what was wrong with the past knowledge management practices, what they wanted, what they needed. Sometimes they don't know really what they need, and you have to understand by yourself. Okay, so this is how Legal Softtech works. Well, actually, we started from Advanced NCTM. It was NCTM at the time. The knowledge management and document automation unit then moved to Unique Legal 2 years ago at the beginning of 2020. You see, Unique Legal is, well, there's a smaller bubble there, which is UniCredit, which is much larger than everything else, but that means that UniCredit partly owns Unique Legal law firm, which is a consortium between UniCredit and these two other Italian law firms, Advanced NCTM and La Scala. And we worked for them, we worked for Unique Legal for 2 years. And in the end, they were so happy that they spun off some of these services, IT services and document automation services, which is us. And now we're Legal Softtech providing document automation services to all of these 4 subjects that you can see there. And I'll tell you about them in a second. This is a much, you see, this is a much larger conglomerate, different entities, law firms, companies, service companies, so that there's a lot of complication in the legal world nowadays, also thanks to legislation which opened the way to mixed forms of legal, traditional partner associations and corporations, so equity capital. So this is more or less the timeline of this story. Starting 15 years ago, it was a completely different technological world. There was no video conference, software was different, it was more cumbersome. Google was just starting at the time. I don't remember exactly the year, but well, not a lot of people were really confident with technology and computers, especially among lawyers. But in NCTM 2005, we started with organizing work, document management, and even document drafting, which at the time was revolutionary. We started with this Australian software called Exari. So it's a beginning of an experiment which lasted many years, and it was partly successful and partly not really successful. But I think it was a useful time because we learned a lot. 3 years ago, UniCredit asked NCTM and La Scala to create its own law firm, especially to manage recursive, repeating litigation in financial and banking matters. This was a huge problem because they had to manage this deluge of cases coming from all over Italy with a large number of different law firms. They didn't want to do that anymore, so they concentrate all the litigation activity into one subject, which was Unique Legal. And they thought it was the right place to restart this document automation experiment. And that's when we moved there and we created this small unit. And as I was saying, after 2 years, the experiment worked so well that Legal Softec was created with the same subjects, but now formally providing on a separate basis this kind of services, not only to Unique Legal, but also to the 2 owner law firms and to some other company services which now focus on debt collection. So what we achieved so far? Well, we have now around 26 active templates, ranging from the one-page document, very simple one-page document, to judicial briefs that can be as long as 80 pages. So very different approaches and complexity, spanning a number of practices and areas. From debt collection, we started with banking litigation, but another typical activity of these 2 law firms was debt collection, but also contracts, non-disclosure agreement, as we heard earlier, and this other kind of standardized contracts, but also not very standardizable documents and contracts. I think you can do a lot also with this kind of documents. And this is the raw numbers that we achieved in 2 years, combining the activity in Unique Legal and now the templates which are provided to the 4 law firms by Legal Softec. You see, this is the how the numbers moved up quarterly, on a quarterly basis. We just estimated, well, aside the 26 templates, we have 15 other templates in development, which will be out hopefully soon, and the use is definitely increasing. So we estimate that currently we have between, I'd say, 1,500 and 2,000 documents per year produced by our, well, now it's 40 to 50 lawyers and paralegals, but obviously by enlarging our activity to the other law firms, we're going to have hundreds of lawyers using Legito. The thing we found very useful, and in fact it was essential for this kind of multi-practice, multi-firm and multi-practice approach, that is putting together different entities and creating synergies towards creating and managing these templates, was the use of workspaces. I heard, it was Andre probably mentioning the workspaces. They're very effective, and otherwise this kind of work, with our approach for this kind of work, would be almost impossible, and we would have to manage an incredible number of privileges, defining individual privileges for each lawyer with the constant risk of making mistakes and letting a lawyer accessing the templates of the other law firm, which would not be nice. With the system of workspaces, these templates and the development work, back-end and front-end, are kept separated. And we find this very, very effective, and it was essential. And it was there already. We discovered that when we were studying how to implement this, this multi-firm approach. few things more, I wanted to tell you about our experience so far. Why we decided to move to Legito? We adopted Legito almost 2 years ago. We wanted to have something more user-friendly. Nowadays, lawyers, even middle-aged lawyers, but young lawyers especially, they just cannot use a software that is cumbersome. They'd rather create their own Word template and keep it for themselves. They need a software that is of the same quality of the softwares that they use in their ordinary life. And that's understandable. We tried the hard way in the first year at NCTM. You have to use the software, even if it's not perfect. I think this is the wrong approach. The software has to be perfect or nearly perfect if you really want to push for its use. And I think we're close. We're close. We're getting close to perfection in terms of user-friendliness. And in terms of sophistication of the graphic outcome, which is also something clients require more and more. A big bank is going to ask you for a format that has the graphic elements that are needed for corporate identity. And the same thing is going to be required by law firms. Everybody's taking up these concepts of legal design nowadays. This is the first output conceived with a legal design approach in debt collection, which is a document that in the past used to be very old style and old looking. And they're trying to develop something that most consumer can understand, like the electricity bill. But this is a judicial act that debtors are going to receive by the law firm, and we are producing it for them. This has been realized using the advanced layout, the advanced design layout, with the use of tags. So it's not just a graphic element, it's a graphic element that incorporates variable elements that are calculated by the lawyers by using Legito in the questionnaire, in the form. Let me show you something more. Another thing, modern law firms need case management softwares, and these softwares need to talk to each other and communicate with the drafting tool. And that's what we did by using APIs. And now our case management software, Ilibra, is fully integrated with Legito. So the two software talk to each other, and Legito imports a good number of data, a good number of names that are needed for the completion of the document, and they are there. So no data entry is needed anymore. I think that's fantastic. So we're still crunching the numbers, but we came up with an estimate of the kind of savings and efficiency increase that we reached by using Legito and by using this approach. Well, you see them there. The methodology has still to be validated fully, but I think that these numbers are not far from the truth. A huge amount of hours saved. And a rise in the revenue, which may look still quite marginal, but you have to consider that we are rolling out these documents, so that the small percentage of the total documents that are produced by the firm now, in a matter of a few years or months, this gains, I think they will be much more substantial. So what are the problems that we are facing and the challenges that we are going to have? Well, if you look at my presentation of 2 years ago, most of these challenges are the same, so they're still there. I copy and pasted part of this because it's not that the legal world that suddenly changed. It's true we had a pandemic and a strong push towards digitalization, but you still have problems in the legal professions. You still have problems in the training of lawyers in law schools. You still have problems in the governance of law firms. And we know that people is resisting these changes. So that probably they're starting to realize, but there's also still resistance and, I mean, laziness, professional laziness. People like to do things the way they always did it, and they keep on doing things in the same way. The thing we realized, and we're leveraging these things to make people understand and to promote these changes, is as soon as a new prospective client sees what you're doing, they start to look with a different eye at you. They start to trust you. So it's an effective management tool. You convince people to hire you, to give you work when you're good at doing these things. And with our cross-firm approach, we think we're going to realize good economies of scale. Of course, you have to put together entities that are trusting, that they're not particularly jealous of critical areas of each respective business. So clearly, you cannot put together in this approach two firms that are directly competitors. But there's a number of joint ventures and collaborations, I think, that can be established, and in order to implement this kind of programs effectively. So platform integration, circulation of knowledge. I was listening to what was being said before. Lawyers are not going to fight over who drafted the best non-disclosure agreement. They just want a good solution, and if they have to share it in order to have a good one, I think they're ready to do it. And that's what this kind of approach can do. So focus on the critical business, focus on the high-level contracts, which can also be developed through Legito. But, I mean, we also have a number, as I was saying, a number of 1 to 2 pages document that take time. They don't make you earn much, and you need to do them as quick as possible and in a precise way. And as soon as different entities and law firms realize this, I think they should be ready to join forces to do it. Finally, protection of confidentiality. This is still perceived as a critical element when you ask lawyers to share knowledge, to share templates over a platform. They start asking, where are these documents going? Is my knowledge, is my expertise going to be lost in the internet or somewhere? Of course, you have to provide safety in that respect. But I think the instrument is there with workspaces and with a number of privileges, with a number of tweaks and settings that you can put into effect. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be happy to talk to you if you're interested. Thank you.
Thank you, Luigi. Thank you very much. Very impressive, particularly the stat that you showed, 5% revenue gain in the initial rollout. And it is good for me to see that lawyers are the same in Italy as they are in the U.S., and they're resistant to change. Do you consider that to be your greatest challenge, to get folks to just change their standard way and start embracing automation? And if that's the case, by displaying for them the revenue gains, is that not compelling to them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you can show figures, of course, it has a different impact, but you have to have them clearly. And
proof is in the pudding,
right? It takes some time.
Yeah,
It may take some time.
But I think it's impressive, too, that you're just working with litigators. I know I find in the U.S. more of the transactional practices are willing to embrace technology and automation for corporate and real estate and what have you. So very impressive that you're doing this with litigators. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.